Anyway, this is the collection of robots that I have made in the last, I would say, maybe 10 years. Some of these I've been working on for 10 years, and some of them, like the smaller ones on the floor, I've made them during the last few months. But as long as I sit around the studio, I keep working on them. When I was a kid, one of the jobs that I had was to be the censor of the magazine rack in a drugstore. You know, I put the magazines in the rack and the comic books, and that's how in the early 1950s I discovered Mad magazine. Yeah. And I was always inspired by that. In fact, when I went to art school, I didn't even know there was any other art except Mad magazine. And so I made my own Mad Doctor's laboratory with various kinds of displays and various kinds of experiments. Makes the eyes a little shinier anyway.
What's the science machine do?
Well, it's one of those things nobody really knows. You have to study it, and you see there's a grinding tool, and there's one of these enema syringes, and you know, it's one of those mystery machines like you might find at the flea market, and never know what it was for. This jug here was made in 1913, 528-gallon jug. It was made for the Hercules dynamite factory. It's an acid bottle that was used in the manufacturing of dynamite here 15 miles from here. These are what we call the tiny skulls of Homo ceramicus, ceramic man.
Yeah.
And they're very easily made, so that there are hundreds of these can be made. And this is a public park across the road here, and I hide these in the park for other people to find. Park? This is 140 acres over here. When I first got interested in mythological animals, you know, I was reading about finding dinosaur bones and so on. Yeah. But I don't really like to travel, and so I just went out in my backyard and made a fossil pit where I could find things like Bigfoot, or here we went out to the beach one day and we found a sea serpent on the beach near Santa Cruz.
And so that's all made out of ceramic?
This is made by manipulation of mud.
Oh, okay.
And it dries and gets hard, and then when the tide comes in, it melts and disappears again. Just stays there long enough for a photo opportunity.
And you called the news and they came in?
Yeah, we would call the local police. This was in the 1970s, yeah. When we called the police about bones on the beach. And television.